Hey friends, let's talk about self-worth, okay? I feel like eating disorders prey upon this. First of all, you're not worth it to recover. Well, actually, we'll not do that as a second of all. First of all, you're not worth it in your eating disorder. You're not worth it to eat. You're not worth it to get the rest. And I wouldn't have actually said this in my eating disorder. I would have just said I function differently. I need to starve myself in order to become normal, to be like the rest of you guys. I needed to work out because it makes me feel good. All of these things, I wouldn't have said it's an issue of self-worth. It's hard to see it, but at the same time, your eating sort of plays upon it, so I know that it is a thing. Like, your body, if you overeat, your body will, like, freaking, like, just an avalanche of insults on you saying how you're such a stupid person and how you shouldn't do that and why don't you have freaking more self-control and how are you this terrible and how are you this weak and all of these insults, and you're like, what? And then it wears on your self-worth. Like, how am I worth anything if I can't control my instincts to eat for 1 second? Why am I this weak? Why do I have so much impulses to eat everything in sight? Why am I this way? I can't be normal. I cannot be normal. All of these things are just eating disorder things. And then when you enter recovery, maybe before you enter recovery, you know, I'm not quite sick enough, you know? Like, my nose might be running and I'm vomiting a little bit, but I don't have that much of a flu, you know? I can't say I'm actually sick because I'm not having diarrhea along with the vomiting, so therefore I'm not having the flu. Like, and then, but that was a metaphor for eating disorders. Like, I'm like miserable and it's hard for me to live and like, I cry a lot, but I don't have an eating disorder because I'm not freaking floating away when the wind gusts. Like, you're worth it. You're worth it to recover, okay? So there's that. Those are 2 examples when you're in the eating disorder, like, yeah, I recognize I'm worth a little bit of recovery, but I can't have all of the recovery because I can't eat all of the food because I'm not worth all of that. Oh, girl, you are. Homeboy, you are. Okay? We're worth it. I don't want to be nauseating in that respect. Like, oh my gosh, sunshine and rainbow and butterflies, you're worth it. But I'm just saying, eating disorders prey on your self-worth, even if it's not blatantly on your self-worth. So I'm saying this for 2 reasons. One, it's self-worth. Yeah, and I'm pointing out where, because I didn't actually think, it's preying on my self-worth. Am I worth it today? That wasn't a thought that crossed my mind. But what did cross my mind was, like, totally self-derogatory things, which obviously the eating disorder gave me. But as I have stepped, little distance from the whole recovery thing, not relapse, just like I'm getting further along, I'm noticing the self-worth more. Like, I'm noticing that it kind of took a hit on my self-worth. It starts with calories and it starts with exercise and it just claws along and it spreads within you, and you look around and you realize that your self-worth has taken a hit. So I want to say you're worth it, and I say you're worth it, and I may run the risk. I might be saying it if I'm watching this video, like, how do you know I'm worth it? You don't know me. You don't know my story. But I know that you're worth it. You are worth it, not because of what you look like, not because of how you talk, not because of what experiences you've had. You're worth it simply because you're a human being who has the world at its fingertips, her fingertips. You make impressions, you have life, and you're the only you. You're the only one capable of making those specific imprints on people's lives. That's why you're worth it. There's a lot more that goes into that, but I can't give you the specific reasons because I don't know exactly who I'm talking to. But as a general thought, that's one reason why you're worth it. And I can say that, even though I don't know you. So for those of you in an eating disorder, It's hard for me to talk to you because you have blinders on at the moment. But just so you know, you're worth it not to be cold. You're worth it not to find clumps of hair on the floor. You're worth it to not be shivering all the time. You're worth it not to be lightheaded and dizzy whenever you stand up and be in a huge state of confusion. Like, what the crap was with that? You're worth it to not have to worry 24/7 about your next meal or your next exercise routine. These are all things that you are worth way more than to deserve this treatment. For those of you thinking about recovery, you're worth it. No matter how much weight you think you need to lose in order to be worthy of recovery, you're worthy of recovery right now, because you don't deserve this. For those of you after or during recovery, you're worth it continuing, and you're worth so much more than what this recovery or what this eating disorder has done. If you mess up in your recovery, you're still worth it. If you are struggling with an eating disorder, you're still worth it. You can't really show your worth when you're having an eating disorder because you're faded from everybody in the world. But you still make impressions on people. Your self-worth isn't in how well you do an eating disorder or how well you do recovery. It's who you are. It's the essence you give. No matter how you ate today, no matter how you moved yourself today, no matter how you treated your body today, those are not going to make up your self-worth. Your self-worth comes from a different place that isn't controlled by your eating disorder or your recovery. These things, recovery makes you able to show your self-worth. It's able to grow that, to make that stronger, because you don't have this presence pushing down on you all the time, ruining every good thought you have about yourself. That's why recovery is great, and that's why it shows your self-worth more. It's not that you become more worthy. It's just you're able to be more seen. I hope this video makes sense. I hope that it affected you in some way, and I'll talk to you later. Bye.